Three bold takes, Quinn, Chase, and Freddie. Guys, we're doing this on Wednesday, and only in February is Wednesday, Valentine's Day, guys. So happy Valentine's Day. We love each and every one of you, and we hope that you love us too. If not, make sure to leave us a hateful comment so we can reach out to you. Hearts to you guys. But today we're talking about ESPN and college football. They reached an agreement on the playoffs for a 6-year, 7.8 billion, not with an M, with a B, billion media rights extension for the expanded playoff to come next year. I'm starting with. So guys, that's a lot of freaking money right there. That's a lot. That's a lot. Quinn, what do you think?
So just for clarification, the 6-year extension adds 6 years to it. So now it's going to be 8 years of the 12-team playoff, correct?
Yeah, it
Um,
says we'll host a 12-team playoff through the 2031-32 season.
all right. So to me, that makes a lot of sense. You look at the different eras of the sport. I mean, I think we went through this when we were talking about like what era do we like the most. The BCS had two incarnations, both lasted 8 years. The playoff, 14 playoff was 10 years. So 8 years makes a bit of sense. The $1 billion contract deal. I guess the thing I'm shocked about the most is that it's exclusive ESPN.
Yeah.
I was expecting Fox to get in on at least some of the early stuff with wild, like what would essentially be the wild card games of the playoff. That shocked me a bit. Um, I'm also a little bit, not even a little. I'm very happy that this means we're going to at least prolong the existence of what is the current Big 12 and ACC and some semblance of what normal college football is. Uh, Other than that, I mean, it's pretty much expected news. We're sitting in that standard 8 to 10 year window. Nothing crazy. We're not getting anything groundbreaking like we thought we might in 3 years, where the Big Ten and SEC say bye. But we'll see after that. I do think. I mean, I would say I'm shocked that it didn't get a more of one, but this is pretty standard as far as how far down the road they put out extensions.
Yeah, it's it's not really surprising to me either. Obviously, ESPN is the giant when it comes to the world of sports. I'm honestly not shocked that Fox or CBS or anybody else didn't get involved. Um, One of the reasons is because I think it opens it up to where they could extend the playoffs more in the future, right? Because if you break it up to where like Fox only gets, first round or whatever, then you have to go out and you have to renegotiate that contract if you start adding teams and adding games. If it's ESPN exclusively, then that means they only have to deal with ESPN if it came point in time where they wanted to expand or even contract. Now, I doubt the contraction would be possible, considering they're paying this much money. They expect a certain amount of games per year to be aired, and so you would have to either keep it at 12 or expand it in the future. Um, but it is what it is. I don't think Fox had the money personally, or CBS obviously had the money in order to dish out. I mean, you look at CBS, then they have a lot of NFL games on, and NBC hosts the Super Bowl. So it's like, do they even have the resources to dish out that kind of money? Probably not, especially over a 6-year period, over $1 billion each year. So it's very exciting that at least we have some sort of news as far as, the playoffs are going to stay at least as of right now in the same form for an extended period of time, which is something that we did not have certainty with when they first announced the 12-team playoff with no TV deal past next year. Chase?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest win here for mainly football fans. When you look at this, it's just that okay, we're not going to change to something else in 2 years. That's something that I've always had a qualm with is just the constant changing of how we're going to award a national champion. Um, and so I think that's good for football fans as a whole. I think the weird thing is it just being with ESPN. I know that's probably easier on the contract negotiations, like Freddie and Quinn have both mentioned, kind of figuring that out down the road. However, if it's just exclusively through ESPN, they kind of creative control over how the format's going to work out, kind of announcers that you're going to get, all that kind of different stuff. And so is that the best brand that you want on top of that with, a mixture of people, Fox and who else? You could get an influx of different announcers, different creative control, and allows you to see different games throughout the playoffs that you won't with just one head of the snake, basically. So I'm a fan of it being until 2032 at least, and then you can build on that or not. And that also kind of holds back what we talked about probably a few weeks ago with the how Quinn alluded to the Big Ten and the SEC, the top, those two, we're going to see that at least not going to happen until after 2032 at the current moment, more than likely. You might see ACC Big 12 problems happen, but I don't think you go fully to North and South kind of conferences, just because they don't have a way to take a hold of college football just yet, since there's still a 12-team playoff there. So I think that's some of the biggest things that I'm looking at. But I'm excited for the 12-team playoff now, with how they're going to format it. They're still working things out. It says still like looking at how they're going to structure the playoff itself. But I think this is big news. And then, dude, just almost nearly $8 billion, man. How crazy is that? That's a huge deal. Probably that's got to be one of the biggest deals of all time for media rights. So,
But so my question is, they signed for media rights for a 12-team playoff.
mhm.
In that contract, does it state the conferences themselves, or is it just with the games? Because that may not stop, the SEC and the Big Ten creating two power conferences. Depends on where that money goes, how it's split up, and
Sure.
I mean, inevitably, if teams decide to leave and a conference collapses just like the Pac-12, it doesn't matter if there's media rights involved or not. I mean, that, who knows? I don't know if
Yeah.
that's in there or not.
I
It,
do want.
go ahead, Quinn.
Okay, I do want to state like I don't think that like the two conferences are going to stop from moving towards mega conferences. I think we're definitely still going to see that over the next 8 years, irregardless of what the
Right.
playoff looks like. I just think that this announcement gives me at least some hope that maybe the Florida State stuff didn't go through or isn't moving like they thought it would, and we might still see Florida State holding on to where they. Because let's be real, that's the linchpin in all this. Is when the ACC collapses, that's when stuff's really going to get wild as far as the mega conferences. So I
True.
think there's at least a little bit of for the next 4 or 5 years, things might still look like they currently do.
Yeah, it just says in this article that I'm reading, it's still they're voting on the structure and financials of the expanded CFP. And this is in the wake of the implosion of the Pac-12. So that's just something we'll keep you updated on for sure. Keep following us and watching our videos, man. 3 bold takes. What do? We break news and we give you bold takes. Come on now. Chase, Freddie, and Quinn, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for our top 25 rankings way, way too early.